Ever heard of this term shadow president?
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty intriguing concept, right? Someone sort of wielding power, but behind the scenes, shaping events without, holding some official position.
Yeah, absolutely.
And lately, there's been a lot of buzz about Elon Musk maybe stepping into a role like that.
Right.
Especially when it comes to his relationship with Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Before we get into all that, though, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the fascinating stories and information we'll be sharing.
Well, what makes this whole situation even more fascinating is that we're not just talking about two powerful guys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the media's role in this whole thing, too.
Right.
They're kind of painting this picture of Musk as this co-president or shadow president.
Yeah, like he's operating, at the same level as Trump.
Yeah, almost like on equal footing with Trump. It's wild.
It's like watching a political drama, but like in real time.
Oh, totally.
And Mediate is reporting some pretty juicy details about all this.
All right.
Yeah. Based on what some insiders are saying,
Okay.
apparently Trump is getting increasingly frustrated with Musk's growing influence.
That's interesting.
There's even a quote from Trump where he allegedly says he's not going to be president. He wasn't born in this country.
Oh, wow. The irony of that statement,
Right.
considering, Trump's own history with birtherism.
It's pretty hard to miss.
Yeah, it definitely points to some, deeper tension there.
For sure.
One insider even used this Chinese proverb to describe the whole situation.
Oh, really?
They said, two tigers cannot live on the same mountaintop.
Wow. That's a powerful image.
Right.
Really captures the sense of rivalry and this struggle for dominance.
Absolutely.
What do you think is going on here?
Right.
Is there really like a power struggle brewing between Musk and Trump? Let us know in the comments what you think. And don't forget to give this video a like if you're enjoying the discussion.
The same insider also mentioned that Musk came in, gave a boatload of money, and wants to take over the place.
Huh. That's really interesting.
That statement really makes you think about the nature of their relationship, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, is it a genuine alliance or just some strategic partnership?
Right.
Or is this all just a power play, fueled by ego?
Yeah, it definitely raises a lot of questions about Musk's motivations.
Totally.
Is he truly acting independently, or is he more like a pawn in Trump's game?
It's a good question.
To sort of unpack this further, I think we need to consider this counter-narrative that's being pushed by some.
Okay. Yeah, what's that?
So some are suggesting that this isn't even a rivalry at all, but rather a calculated strategy on Trump's part.
Okay.
They argue that he's intentionally weaponizing Musk,
Interesting.
using his disruptive personality and, massive online following to amplify his own message.
I see.
So instead of seeing Musk as this rival who's stealing the spotlight,
Yeah.
this theory suggests he's more like a tool,
Okay.
albeit a very powerful one that Trump is using to disrupt the status quo.
That's a really interesting perspective.
It is.
It makes you think about how Trump has always been a master of manipulating the media
Yeah.
and using controversy to his advantage.
Totally.
Could this be another example of that?
Possibly, it wouldn't be the first time that Trump has used someone else's platform to advance his own agenda.
Right.
Now, to really understand this dynamic better, I think we need to dig into some of the analogies being used to describe their relationship.
Okay.
One that's been making the rounds is the Steve Urkel and Carl Winslow dynamic.
Ah, yes. The classic sitcom duo.
Exactly.
You've got Carl, the, established authority figure trying to keep everything in order.
Right.
And then you have Steve, the quirky, unpredictable neighbor who often steals the show with his, antics.
Exactly. And some are saying that Musk is pulling a Steve Urkel on Trump,
Oh, really?
unexpectedly becoming the center of attention and potentially overshadowing him in the process.
I see.
But is that really what's happening here? Is this just a case of the media hyping up a perceived rivalry?
Right.
Or is there something more substantial going on,
Yeah.
beneath the surface?
That's the question. This whole Urkel and Winslow analogy, it's amusing,
Yeah.
but it might be oversimplifying things a bit.
Right.
What's far more intriguing, I think, is how this reflects a much bigger shift in the political landscape.
Absolutely. We're seeing this rise of these non-traditional players,
Yeah.
particularly, tech billionaires like Musk,
Exactly.
who are wielding increasing influence in politics.
They have immense resources, massive platforms,
Yeah.
the ability to reach millions, even billions of people.
It's crazy.
It allows them to disrupt these traditional power structures in ways we haven't really seen before.
Then they're not afraid to use it.
No, they're not.
Musk especially.
Right.
He's never shied away from challenging conventions or speaking his mind.
Yeah.
Even if it, ruffles some feathers along the way.
That's what makes him such a captivating figure. He's unpredictable, outspoken, and not bound by the same rules as traditional politicians.
Right.
It can be both exhilarating and unsettling.
For sure.
Depending on your perspective.
But going back to this idea of Trump weaponizing Musk,
yeah,
it does make you wonder if it's all part of some grand plan.
It's certainly a possibility.
Right.
Trump has always been so adept at manipulating the media and using controversy to his advantage.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be surprising if he's intentionally leveraging Musk's persona to further his own goals.
But even if that's the case,
yeah,
it doesn't mean Musk is just a passive participant.
Right. He's got his own ambitions and agenda.
Exactly. He's not just a puppet.
No.
He's a shrewd businessman with a vision for the future.
For sure.
And he's definitely not afraid to use his influence to shape that future.
Absolutely.
Which brings us back to the question of sustainability.
Right.
Can two strong personalities like this really coexist in a power-sharing arrangement?
Yeah. Is this going to work long term?
Or is it destined to implode?
Good question.
What do you think?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
It's like a political experiment unfolding in real time.
Yeah.
And the results could have huge implications for both men and the future of American politics.
Absolutely. We're talking about the potential for major disruption and a reshaping of the political landscape as we know it.
Yeah, for sure.
But to really understand the scope of that potential disruption,
okay,
I think we need to examine the historical context of shadow presidents.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
What is a shadow president anyway?
Well, the idea of a shadow president isn't actually new. I mean, throughout history, there have been figures who operate behind the scenes, wielding significant power without actually holding an official office.
Interesting.
Think of like Rasputin in Tsarist Russia.
Oh, yeah.
Or even Cardinal Richelieu in 17th century France.
Right.
These individuals often exerted influence through their close relationships with those in power,
I see.
shaping decisions and manipulating events to their advantage.
So they were kind of the puppet masters.
In a way, yeah.
It's fascinating to consider how those historical examples might shed light on the current dynamic between Musk and Trump.
Yeah.
Are we witnessing a modern-day version of this age-old power play?
It's certainly possible, and if so, it raises some critical questions about accountability and transparency.
Right. How do we make sure that power,
right,
even when it's wielded indirectly,
yeah,
is subject to public scrutiny and democratic checks and balances?
It's a crucial point.
It is.
And it leads us to another layer of this whole situation, the role of technology in all this. I mean, Musk isn't just any billionaire, right?
Yeah.
He's a tech titan. He controls these platforms that shape public discourse and influence perceptions.
So he's not just shaping events behind the scenes.
Right.
He's also shaping how we perceive those events.
Exactly, through his control of platforms like X, formerly Twitter.
It's crazy.
It adds a whole new dimension to this concept of a shadow president.
Yeah, it's almost as if he's operating on multiple levels simultaneously,
Right.
like influencing policy behind the scenes, shaping the narrative through his platforms, and mobilizing public opinion through his massive online following.
It's a level of influence that those traditional shadow presidents could only dream of.
For sure.
And it's a phenomenon we really need to pay close attention to as we navigate this evolving political landscape.
Right, because understanding this dynamic isn't just about, satisfying our curiosity about a political drama.
No, it's much bigger than that.
It's about understanding how power is shifting and evolving in the digital age.
Absolutely.
And what that means for the future of democracy. It really is a whole new ballgame, isn't it?
It is.
And while we've seen, wealthy individuals exert political influence for centuries, the way Musk is doing it feels different.
Yeah.
Almost like it's amplified by the technology he has at his fingertips.
That's a great point.
Right.
It's not just about the money anymore. It's about the reach, the immediacy, and the ability to shape these narratives, but on a global scale.
Wild.
And that brings us to another crucial question, I think.
Okay.
What are the potential consequences of all this?
Right. It's all very fascinating to analyze.
Yeah.
But it's important to understand the implications, too.
Absolutely.
Both the positive and the negative.
Right.
What happens when individuals with vast wealth and technological power can operate with so much influence often beyond the reach of traditional checks and balances.
Well, on the one hand,
Yeah.
you could argue that someone like Musk can use his resources and platform to drive some positive change.
Right.
Accelerate innovation and maybe address some pressing global challenges.
He's already doing that in some ways.
He is to some extent.
Like with his ventures in renewable energy and space exploration.
Exactly.
So it's not all bad.
No, not at all.
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
there's a legitimate concern about the concentration of power and the potential for it to be misused.
Right.
What if these individuals start prioritizing their own interests
Yeah.
over the common good?
That's the real danger, isn't it?
It is.
And it's why we need to be having these conversations.
For sure.
We need to think critically about the implications of all this.
Yeah.
And we need to demand more transparency and accountability.
From the people who have this power.
Exactly.
And that goes for both Musk and Trump.
Absolutely.
Regardless of whether they're rivals or collaborators or something in between,
Right.
the way they're operating is changing things.
It is.
It's reshaping the political landscape.
And it's a landscape that we all need to understand and navigate.
We do.
This is about more than just two powerful guys.
Right.
It's about the future of democracy in a world where technology is blurring the lines between power, influence, and control.
This has been a really thought-provoking discussion.
He has.
What are some key takeaways you think our listeners should consider as they process all this?
I think the most important takeaway is that power is evolving.
Okay.
It's no longer confined to traditional institutions or political offices. It's flowing through new channels, amplified by technology,
Right.
and wielded by individuals who operate outside the traditional rules of the game.
That's a powerful point.
It is.
So what can our listeners do to stay informed and engaged in this changing landscape?
Be critical thinkers.
Okay.
Don't just accept the narratives that are presented to you,
Right.
whether it's by the media, by politicians, or by powerful people like Musk.
Yeah.
Do your own research, ask tough questions, and demand transparency.
Excellent advice.
Thanks.
And before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes where we'll continue to explore these fascinating and complex topics. And if you enjoy this discussion, don't forget to give this video a like. It helps us reach more people and continue these important conversations. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.